Hello to all the beautiful queer superheroes out there. Welcome to yet another episode of the Gay Superhero Show with myself, Monty, the gay superhero. Listen, on this show, we celebrate diversity. It's something that is very important to us. And for all those that don't know, it is International Pride Month in June. So happy International Pride Month to everybody and to every member of this beautiful queer community. And on today's show, we have a very, very interesting person. He is a rapper and he's going to be chatting to us about all things rap and his life and music. And we're going to get to understand a little bit more about him. His name is Jaya. Jaya, thank you so much for coming through to the Gay Superhero Show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's like such a pleasure to be here. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate that a lot.
Yay.
How are you?
I'm alive, I'm good, I'm kicking, I'm breathing, and I think that's all that matters at the moment, you know, during a whole panorama, you know, so what you gonna do?
Yeah. Listen, one thing that's so important to us on this show is that we celebrate diversity. It's very important for us to ask people their pronouns. So I always start off the show by saying, hi, I identify as a gay man. My pronouns are he, him, they, them, and their. So I want to know, how do you identify and what are your pronouns?
My pronouns are everything under the sun. I think it's just a word for me, personally for me. And I identify as a gay man, attracted to men, and also culturally gay, because I think there's a difference between like being homosexual and homoromantic and also not prescribing to gay culture. I prescribe to gay culture.
Yes, I like that.
Yep, I like it too.
I prescribe to gay culture. I've literally never heard that before. That's really dope.
Yeah.
That's because we're such a diverse group of people.
Yeah, no,
we
definitely.
Really so before we even get down to it, before we even get to talk about you being a rapper, the first thing that I want to know, how was your childhood? Like, I think for me, like, it's so important for me to start there, like, for every queer person, because I want to know, like, what was your childhood? What was it like growing up?
Well, I mean, I enjoyed my childhood for the most part, you know. I think growing up as a queer kid, you know, obviously you suppress it. Yeah. You lie to the honeys and say, no, I'm not gay.
I'm not gay. I do that a lot. I'm not gay.
I mean, are you gay if you didn't deny it?
Yeah. Right? Are you? Oh,
so, I mean, that was a challenge in and of itself. But other than that, I enjoyed it. I've always been a self-assured person. And luckily, because of that, it's always allowed me to stand up above everything else. Even though, I mean, I got teased as everybody else. My bullies were quite creative with their names. I won't lie. Some of them are pretty cool. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, nonetheless, I think I always rose above that because I always knew that I was just special.
Yeah,
you know, so yeah,
I think it's also it's such a great thing to celebrate, like the fact that you're unique as any unique individual.
Yeah,
you know, for me, when growing up, you experience a whole lot of things, and being, you know, experiencing prejudice things is something that happens quite a lot. And I'm keen to find out, like, in your adult years, even now as a gay man, you know, have you experienced any prejudices as a gay man?
Tons. Like I've literally had to deal with so many in the industry. I've had to deal with things outside of the industry. I've been physically attacked. I fought someone off literally for coming at me in Durban. I remember they asked me, they're like, who are you? Because I was wearing boots, bruh. And they were like, who are you? And I'm like, Nkosi Nkonkoni. And obviously this is in Durban. And Nkosi Nkonkoni means the gay king. And they know what it means. This drunk mofo loses his mind. And then he starts attacking me. I'm like, I'm not going to lose this fight in heels, honey. Not today, honey.
Yeah, not today, honey. I'm not about to get nasty.
I'm shy, bruh. I'm shy.
You lie.
Yo, I'm shy.
I tell you, gay guys, they can hit you, bruh.
Listen, honey.
Don't try it.
Don't try it.
Don't try it. Don't try it. Yo, but I mean, you know, in many cases, a lot of people really don't get to be able to fight back.
Yeah.
And we've seen, obviously, with the recent hate crimes that have been happening against our community, it never really ends well, you know. And every time, I think it's such a very sad thing, the fact that we as a people get to experience such prejudices on an everyday basis.
Yeah.
You know, and that the outcomes end up resulting to murder. Yeah. Which is really such a sad thing. So for me, I think you mentioned something so amazing when you were walking in before you came to do this interview, and you spoke about how, you know, you as gay people, sometimes because of our surroundings, we tend to change what we wear to accommodate in order for our safety.
Yeah.
I mean, what goes through your mind when you have to make such a decision?
Well, I think I've become so numb to it that, like, it's not even like a thing that I think about. I just know that when I'm walking the streets, I need to pass. Yeah. And in order to pass, I need to dress a certain way. I need to walk a certain way sometimes as well. Except when I'm feeling extra and it's like,
you know,
ain't nobody gonna touch me. You know, but it's such a sad reality that we have to deal with, you know. But also, I mean, I pretty much grown up in Joburg, so like I know how to navigate the streets. I know. And also, I always tell people this, like, for the longest I always thought that, like, when I'm walking the streets that like people were following me, but because I'm dark and I've got dreadlocks, they think I'm the thief, bruh. I'm like, oh yeah,
It's
bruh.
okay if you think I'm a thief.
Look away, walk away. You know, so I'm lucky like that.
Yeah.
That I get away with looking like a thief. But I mean, I mean, it allows me to steal some freedom, I guess.
Yeah. What is that moment where you realize, listen, this is my identity, and there's no going back? You know, like I fully accepted and I fully acknowledge that this is who I am.
Well, I think when I decided that I definitely am not going back is definitely when I got to varsity, and then like I started being okay with who I am, and I knew that okay, cool, now it's time to embrace everything, forget everything else, leave those girls alone,
Yeah.
and move. You
Yeah.
know, and I think that was such a sentinel moment for me. And luckily enough, I had very supportive friends and a very supportive friend group of gay people as well, and heterosexual of different sexualities as well, who've always like supported me in that moment. So I was very lucky enough to have that. But I also had to fight for it, you know, because then it's one thing to be accepted in your friend group, and then another thing to have to be accepted at home.
Yes.
So I had to come out. I had to come out to my parents when I was about to turn 21, like 20 days before I turned 21. I know I told you guys, Uguti, I don't believe in God anymore. Now I'm telling you I'm gay.
You're on
They
top of
lost their shit, bruh. You know, but I mean,
Yeah.
it was completely necessary, and like I mean, I explained it to them, like I don't need your understanding, you'll never understand, but I definitely need your respect, and if you're not going to give it to me, I will fight for it, and you will give it, and now I have it.
Yeah, now you have it.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. You just literally took like my question there, because I literally, sometimes our families receive us differently, you know. I wonder what it must have been like for them, for you to be able to sit them down, you know, as parents. I mean, how was that reaction when you immediately told them, you know?
Well, I'll never forget, my dad was staring me like in the eye, with his eyes not moving, not twinkling or anything like that. My mother was sitting down, breathing like, and then after that it was prayer time. During prayer time, my mom was crying like Jesus just arrived. I'm like, honey, relax. I'm just gay.
I'm just gay. There's literally nothing bad about this, you know.
But like over time, you know, they've come to their own and they've have a sense of understanding. I remember like 2 years later, I found documents that my dad had been searching about, you know, homosexuality and Christianity that were pro homosexuality. So, and I felt that that was like a way of him saying that, okay, cool, like I'm trying to get to know you. I mean, the hand is still problematic, but I mean,
you know,
we gotta give her a try. It's like
give
you
it a
ain't
try.
used
Try
to
and
it,
kinda rise
you
up.
know.
That's really great. I mean, a lot of the times rejection is a big thing in just like the queer community, especially when you share yourself and you tell your parents, listen, this is who I am. A lot of kids end up dealing with homelessness. They end up getting outcasted by their families, and that's something that we've seen. It's quite common in the community, which results to a lot of mental health issues.
Yeah.
So I'm keen to find out if, like, you know, have you ever dealt with any mental health, and you know, how did you navigate that?
I think a lot of my mental health issues were caused by being in varsity and studying something that I didn't want to do, and less to do with my sexuality. You know, although I've seen and had friends who had to deal with it because of their sexuality. Like I said, I'm just lucky enough to be blessed with a very strong mentality that once I believe something and I'm sure of myself, I run with it. So it was never because of that. So I think what perhaps could have added to it was the fact that like I was having to deal with doing something I don't want to do, and having to deal with the fact that like I feel like I'm a disappointment to my parents because I want to leave school and I also am gay, you know. So it was never about my sexuality. Perhaps maybe in high school, you know, maybe in high school I definitely had to deal with that. But then outside of that, like I've never let my sexuality get to the point where it's crippling me. Unless Miss Kubinda bazothanda, okay, yo, girly, yo, the industry is phila kuyo.
Yeah, it's tough, you know. I mean, dating as a gay man is really quite a tough thing, you know.
Yeah.
Especially because we've got all these, you know, dating apps out there. Some are hookup apps, you know, and we've all had our fair share, you know, we've been out there on them and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How is your dating life? I mean, honestly.
I mean, what is it? What's the date? What's the date?
What?
That's the
Jolo,
question.
you know?
You know, I mean, for me, like, as she's talking to a friend right now, that I think it's actually a trigger point right now, because I feel like I'm actually so focused on my career that like it's like such a big deal to me that to be able to and to be able to extend yourself like that is so hard, especially when like you don't feel like you can be in a situation where you can honestly, truthfully be yourself without having to feel judged. And I feel like that's where I've struggled in my dating life. I haven't been able to be with someone and feel like I can tell you everything about me, my lows and my highs, without me feeling like I'm being less of or whatever, you know. So I think that's really been my hardest challenge within the dating thing, you know. But I mean, like, honestly, you know, I believe that I think God is just preparing me for
something. Yeah, me too.
great, right? Like a rich man.
Like a rich man, you know, with money. You know, we're gonna be on a yard in a song.
In Dubai. Yeah, you know, I think I'm destined for like that kind of stability. I'm not for the materialistic sense of it, but just generally, like, I mean, spiritually strong. That's important to me. Like, I think those are kind of like, you know, I think I'm gonna meet my person when
you're there.
When I'm there.
Me too. I also feel that. I feel literally like I'm gonna meet my person, and I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I'll be at a different level than I am now. I feel like right now I'm trying to get my dreams on.
Yeah.
Trying to navigate that energy. It can be a lot sometimes.
It's too much. Yeah. It's already too much.
You've mentioned the fact that like you had a lot of friendship supports. You know, in the queer community. You know, we end up creating our own chosen families. Yeah. A lot of people, that's one thing, that's part of who we are. You know, because we get outcasted by our families and then we go create our own chosen families. I mean, how important is it having queer friends?
I think it's so pivotal. Like, as a queer person, and if you're queer, I'd always say the first thing you need to do is go find yourself some gay friends, my love.
Right.
Because like, or lesbian friends or trans friends, whatever you are, you know, because the moment that you're able to do that, you'll be able to find someone and have people who you can have relatable conversations with, and you'll be able to like have therapeutic conversations that you can't afford as a queer person growing up in South Africa. You can't rock up and say, yo dog, I'm for a therapy session, but you can do that with a friend. And I think that's the difference that a support system does, and that's what that offers, you know. Alternatively, you can listen to my music. That's therapy in and of itself.
Alternatively, you can listen to my music, and that's when we get into the music. So listen, I mean, you know, I love the fact that you rap.
Yeah.
And the first question that I wanted to ask you in terms of your music was that, do you mind being called the gay rapper? Because I've seen like a lot of publications when they describe you, they're like, oh, gay rapper, rapper. And a lot of people, they seem to have a problem with putting their sexuality in front of what they do. You know, now what if this is something that you have a problem with?
No, I do not. I embrace it completely.
Yeah, I love it.
I do not. So cool. Yeah, no, I think it's like people always say you don't want to get boxed. I'm like, I will never be boxed, honey. I'm so talented. Like, I'm literally generational talent.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not scared about that, you know. And I think it's so important because it's not about me.
Yes.
It's about the fact that like I need a young kid to see oh my god, this is a person who's super duper talented, like world-class talented, and is owning their sexuality and isn't like slithering around it in order to get there. Like, that's so important for growth. That is so important for understanding and becoming a better person, you know, not just for ourselves but for our community. So I completely own it. I'm completely okay with it because I'm in charge of my narrative, dude. Like,
I'm in charge of my
I'm
narrative.
so in charge of my narrative.
That.
Yeah,
I love that. I mean, when did the love for music come? When did the music bug bite you?
well, I think the music bug bit me professionally in 2016, 17.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've always been writing songs. Like, between the ages of 12 and 18, I have albums, about 6 of them, which is like a collection of songs that I used to write
Really?
and used to compose by myself, you know. Like, so I've always been into that, but I only started rapping when I turned 20. So I was 2015. And then I started taking it professionally in 2017, and then like full time 2018.
Yeah.
So like, it's been like quite a challenge. But I mean, it's exactly what I needed, and like music saved me, hip hop saved me. You know, hip hop made me proud of my sexuality, because in hip hop, in rap, bruh, you can't be a rapper and not rip yourself and not back yourself.
Yeah.
And I fucking back myself because I'm a fucking G, you know? Gay, of
Gay,
course.
G. Oh my God. I mean, what are some of the musical influences that you have? You know, you mentioned that you love the genre of hip hop, which has a huge discography of people that really, really do an amazing thing. You know, who are some of the people that influence you as an artist?
I think I can, in terms of hip hop, I can definitely say Kid X, I can say KO, I can say Nicki Minaj, I can say AKA, I can say there's quite a few. I think those have been the most sensible, the ones that come to mind straight off the bat. And I think myself, I influence myself a lot because I revisit what I've done, you know. And I think that's why I'm so unique as a musician, because a lot of what I produce comes from myself. You know, but those have been my greatest influences, you know, in terms of like the art of rap musically, and in terms of my musicianship. I think then that's when we go into the realms of Lira, Beyonce. Recently, I actually need to give credit to Ciara, because I used to love that hun. Literally, I used to love Ciara. I used to love Michael Jackson. I used to love Janet as well. The pop girls. Look, the pop. I'm a pop girl,
pop
honey.
girl. Yeah, pop really influences a lot of what we do now.
Yeah.
You know, I think for me, you know, being a musician in this country is really not an easy thing. It really, really is a struggle. But you are somebody who has defined himself as a gay rapper. You know, what are some of the challenges that you have faced in this country, in particular to the music industry?
Well, I think first and foremost was actually dealing with the fact that, like, am I gonna call myself a gay rapper?
Yeah.
Like, is that what's gonna happen? And I remember who DJ Switch, when I first started, he told me, he was like, say it. Say Jaya, the queer rapper. I'm like, don't put my sexuality in front of everything. But then obviously my mentality changed and he was right.
He was right.
He was so right. He was
yeah.
onto something, you know? So like I think that that's one of the challenges that I really had to deal with. Obviously, with promoters who don't take you seriously. But I think that's a general musician thing. Like, as an independent artist, I think that's the case. But they've certainly felt it personally. And obviously, then audience reception, like, they're always like, oh my God, there's this faggot, the barn, pulling through. And then I rap, and then they shut up.
And they hear that this guy's flow.
It's crazy. Like, one of my earlier memories, well, my first ever show was in a local tavern, and I remember I got up on stage.
Dude, like that's so iconic. Like, if they were to do like a biopic one day, like, yeah, he started in a tavern.
It's a very
that is iconic,
dude. I walked in, and then no one was like paying attention to me. And then luckily, like the it rapper of my hood introduced me, and I was like, this is the guy, he's the feature. And people like, whatever, they walked away as I got on. By the end of my performance, everyone was on the stage. And then that completely changed. And I got up there, as I walked in, I was straight out of an interview from SABC, honey, and I'm like, I'm feeling myself in Kogitogu. And then these people are like, oh, hey honey. I'm like, no, like this. Yo, at the end, they came up to me, howdy dog, oh, you flew up, and don't you ever disrespect people like that. Like, dude, like, come on. Like, that's so, like, imbecilic.
That's amazing. I mean, you know what? It's such amazing because, you know, hip-hop is considered to be such a heterosexual genre. You know, and everybody's just like, yeah, everybody must just, they even disregard women in most cases, you know, and it takes a lot for women to be fighting to be acknowledged in hip-hop. And I think it's amazing that you have that voice, you know, that says, listen, I'm queer and I'm here and I'm proud. And I want you to be able to hear me within my authenticity and still respect my flow. You know, and I think that's amazing. And do you think that you, like, do you eventually want to get signed to a label?
I think I definitely want to. I don't think signing is my ambition. My ambition is to monetize my talent to an extraordinary point, you know? Like, I want to make good revenue. My ambitions don't require people. My ambition requires myself and money. So what I want is money. Listen, if you got money, come to me. Fund me. You know? Money. So if that comes in the form of signing, then that comes in the form of signing. I have ambitions to be one of the best in the world. I will be one of the best in the world.
Well, you already are.
Yes, I already am. You just need to be seen there.
So you studied law, right?
I did study law.
Yo, what was that like? Like, well,
I hated it. I hated every moment of it because, like, I mean, I knew I wasn't meant to do this. I knew I wanted to be something else. Only when I started rapping did I notice, like, oh shit, I want to be a rapper, you know? But I mean, that was also a necessary part of my life. I think everything that happens for a reason.
I believe
you know, and had it not been for that, I wouldn't be where I am now and have the mentality that I have now, like, and I'm proud of myself. Like, I'm achieved.
Should be. What state are you usually in? I think a lot of the times as musicians, as creatives, what state are you usually in when you're creating the songs that you create? Like, I'm literally thinking, I'm going to go back to Eat My Ass because I like that song. And I hope, like, we should...
I hate that song!
Like, I think maybe you should send it to us so we can put it in this track so people can hear it.
Eat my ass. Eat it. My ass. Eat it. My ass. Is a treat. Man, they boys don't get to eat. My ass. You can't complain. You got ass on your dinner plate. Baby, celebrate. Eat it. Eat my ass.
Whoa, okay, this is vibey. Like, literally, like, if I'm going to put, like, productions in the future, like, that song, I really like it, you know? It's a song that you hate that people end up liking.
It's true.
You know? So, yeah, what state are you usually in when you create these songs, you know?
I describe it as a trance, you know? Like, when I get into it, I'm gone. Like, when I write, I write. When I get the first word, I go with it, and then I flow with it, you know? Like, it's so crazy. Like, I remember, like, Eat My Ass. I remember when I got to Switzerland, and there I was, and I'm walking thinking, okay, obviously no one knows me. These hands just got me here because they see me, like, jive my ass. And then people are like, hey, Jaya, eat my ass. I'm like, why do you know that song? You're French speaking. You know? So, like, like that's also the power of what we do. Like it goes
Yes.
beyond you, you know. So that's why I think it's beyond me, and I'm in a trance when I'm writing most of my
Yeah.
music, and especially this new music now. It's just like it's crazy. It's like on some other tip. So that's exciting.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
Yeah.
Talking about the new music, tell us a little bit about like this new music. What are you going for with your sound and stuff like that? Are there any changes that we can expect with this different sound?
Well, firstly, definitely a better rapper.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely a better rapper, and I'm definitely an improved musician. What I'll be offering first is, of course, the Giant Nation mixtape, which I'm offering completely for free. People are like,
Wow.
why?
Get your money.
You know, I'm like, no, guys, I think my supporters, the Giant Nation, deserve like a, okay, he's back. You know, let's engage with that. Let's build with that.
Yeah.
And truthfully, honestly, I'm also working on a distribution deal.
Yeah.
I want a better deal, and I'm not going to settle. I'm definitely not settling anymore. Like I always say, when I got to Switzerland, I noticed that I was good enough to get there, but not good enough to stay. And so I've been taking the time, and that explains my hiatus as well. I've been taking the time to improve as an artist, improve my business acumen as well, in order to be consistent. We spoke about consistency earlier on, you know? And so that's what's so important about me. And I think that's what this new era is going to bring. It's going to bring better bars, more musical bars, better musicality. And like, it's rooted in the principle that existence is resistance.
Yeah.
So I think at the beginning, like, Quinomics was very declaratory in nature. Like, I declare I'm gay, and you will stay away, you know?
Yes.
But now it's like, relax, dog. Like, chill,
chill.
bro. I'm vibing.
Yeah.
It's Jarizi when I make it look easy, you know? So it's like, it's very exciting, because it's like I think now I'm going to enter more spaces and spread the gay agenda without people even noticing. And that's
really
exciting.
amazing. Yeah, what are some of the festivals that you'd like to see yourself being in? Like, you know, being able to perform that. Like, I performed there, like I did that, you know?
Well, locally, Ricky.
Yeah, right? I was thinking that, yo, Cotton Fest.
Listen, Cotton Fest.
Where you at?
Please, sir.
You know, some representation, you know?
Some representation, that'll be dope.
great.
Rocking the Daisies, Bushfire Festival, that's what I want to do locally. Internationally, I'd love to get a residency. Overseas in Europe, I'd like to tour. In Europe, I'd like to tour the States. I'm not crazy about the States.
Yeah.
Purely because of how they treat black people.
Yes.
I'd like to tour in Europe. But yeah, I mean, and I think any festival really that's gonna pay me
Yeah, money.
money, not exposure. I expose myself. Me, not exposure, baby.
So listen, you know, I think, you know, one thing I love about doing this show is the fact that I get to sit down with different types of members of the community. And we get to talk with each other and get to know each other, you know, and get to learn a lot of things from each other that we really don't get to learn anywhere else. And I think it's personally good to hear it from a person's mouth and get to understand that. You know, I really am keen to find out your opinion on what's currently happening right now in the community. I know right now that when we're filming, there's actually a protest. There's a march happening all the way in Cornhill at the moment. So, you know, what is your kind of take on what's been happening right now, especially in this country as a queer body?
I'm not going to speak about the heterosexuals because the heterosexuals are unreliable. I'm not going to speak about allies because the allies are unreliable. I'm going to speak for ourselves. First and foremost, we need to deal with our issues between us. The fact is, there's only really truly an uproar when gay men are affected. When lesbian women are affected, there's not much uproar. When trans women are affected, there isn't uproar. So we need to deal with the misogyny that exists between us as gay men first. Because if we can't fix the things that are indoors, how are we going to sort the issues that are outdoors? And so I think first and foremost, before we even go and tackling everybody else, let's tackle one another. I'll always say, for instance, some of the best events that I've been to, the Queer Feminist Film Festival and all the other ones, have been organized by lesbian women. They have been supported by lesbian women. The truth is, gay men support gay things that are gay looking only.
I agree.
And that's a fact. They don't go past that. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's the kind of prejudice that we need to deal with within our own community first before we go and deal with everybody else. Because they're not going to, we can't be naive and think that like heterosexual community are going to suddenly change their mind about everything else. But what we can do is when we are united, we'll be able to fight off these issues and really make change in our country, because we live in a country where we have the constitutional rights, but we don't have the social buy-in. And in order to have the social buy-in, we need to have the buy-in within our own community before we permeate that buy-in beyond our community.
Yes.
So I think it starts with us, and the sooner we get started with our own work, the better.
Yeah. Do you think that like it makes us a target that we are divided in that way?
Easy, man. Like what did Zemo say in Civil War? In Civil, I mean, it's easy to divide. Like it's easy to break down. You can fight a army, right? But they will always come back up. You can defeat someone, but an army that breaks within will never grow back again, right?
Wow.
So think of the inverse. So if the army within is stronger and fortified, nothing will break them, no matter how many battles there are. So I think we're an easy target because we are divided, you know. And I think the sooner that we fix that, the sooner we can make a difference.
Yeah.
You know.
Goodness.
Medical aid for the health. Get in my house for the holiday. My mama don't like to travel, but when we basking and balling, she won't complain. Baba, he love him some livestock. Said it reminded me younger days. So he gave birth to the goat. He said to line up the sheep in the hip-hop game. Slide up, praise God, eat like kings. See it in Togo, little things.
Shout out to Navabolova, like an amazing collective. They're actually being categorized as the emerging artist by the Design Indaba, which is really amazing.
Yes.
So that's coming out soon. Hopefully as well, there'll be more things that are gonna come my way.
Yes.
I'm working on that, definitely. But after Giant Nation, of course, the second installment is gonna be Queer Age. And the Queer Age is coming out sooner than you think. I'm so excited. It's like,
So, you know, just to wrap it up, what would you like to say to a young kid out there who really is queer and wants to rap? Like, yo, man, I want to rap and I want to be great and I want to be in this music industry. What would you like to say to them when they see a Jaya out there?
your sexuality will get you views, but your talent will get you places. First and foremost. Secondly, if you want to, if it's specifically for rappers, back yourself, bro, ma'am, whoever, whatever you identify as, you need to back yourself. You need to believe that you are the shit and that no one is better than you. Because I can tell you now, I am the best. And I don't need validation. You need to validate yourself. You know, also learn to speak your truth without fear of judgment or outcome in that moment and moments to come. And always know that whatever you do has to be done with good and genuine intention, because that energy will be reciprocated by the universe. Trust me. If you do all of that, bro, you might just get to my level. That's a might.
Yeah.
That's a might.
You might just get to my level. Listen, and that's how we wrap this interview. But we don't just close it out just like that.
Yeah.
You know, we always play games on the show, and I like it when we get into like this fun part of the show.
Yeah.
We have a game on the show that we call Who Would You Top, Bottom, or Verse?
Oh my God!
Yeah, so we've got a bunch of celebrities that we've got lined up here for you.
Oh
you,
my
you
God,
get to choose. Who would you top? Who would you bottom? Who would you verse?
Shoot.
Are you ready for this one?
I don't know.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. So on our list here, we've got MT.
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 MT. Now.
Yeah, MT. So your face.
MT.
Yes,
I MT.
So we've got.
As Kisane. Kisane.
So we've got MT,
Yeah.
we've got Kelani, and we have got John Legend.
Okay, so I need to.
Yeah, you
Oh,
need
so
to
that's how the
decide.
game
Yeah,
works.
that's how the game works.
Oh, okay.
So
With
who
one, two,
would
three.
you top?
Oh.
Who would you bottom? Who would you verse?
Okay. Who would I top? Who I bottom? Kelani.
Yeah, who would you bottom?
Did you say Kelani?
Yeah, Kelani.
Girl, she gonna have to strap up. Okay, guess I'm bottoming for Kelani. Cause I mean, we can't be touching, honey. And then who's the other one? John Legend.
Yes, John Legend.
And then there's MT Bottom. So now I have to verse one of them.
Yeah, verse one of them.
You. Girl, what are these names?
I know.
Okay, so MT, you know what? Actually, we can totally. No, okay, he's definitely top. No, but Kelani's topping me.
No,
Oh.
I think you said Kelani was you were bottoming for. Okay, so Kelani is topping you.
No, wait. So now let's clarify. Okay, wait. So okay, who am I bottoming for?
I love this.
I'm definitely gonna bottom. Let's kill Kelani, girl. Now, give me someone else. I can't do anything with Kelani. Kelani Somenzan.
No, it's fine. It just doesn't matter.
Okay,
we have to
fine.
have a woman in there.
Do we?
Yes, that's how it works. That's the fair show. It's actually gonna give you mad everywhere.
Okay. Kelani. I'm gonna verse. Ooh, say it like this. Kelani can top me. No, she can't, because then one of them has to top me.
One of them had to top me.
Okay, no. Okay, fine.
Yes.
I'm gonna verse with Kelani.
Okay.
I'm going to top John Legend.
I know you said the John Legend.
I have to chop John
Yeah,
Legend.
he-
John Legend doesn't look like
something
Kuzo.
cute,
Yeah. Kuzo empty so rough.
Yeah, also, you know,
Yeah.
even though
So-
we saw that clip.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm not a size queen. Listen, honey, whatever you got, make it work. Make it so empty, baby. Come wreck this war. And then let's make a record.
Let's make a record. Listen, that's how we wrap it up on this show today. Jaya, it's been really lovely getting to have
Thank you.
I've thoroughly enjoyed this interview so
Thank
much.
you so much for having me.
All the best with your project. Please keep us updated.
Will do.
Where can people get a hold of you actually on social media if they want to get a hold of you?
So that's GYRE_SA on Twitter. That's Instagram as well. And you can also get me at Jaya Queer Rap. That's GYREQUEERRAP on Facebook. I'm also on a very cool network called the Queer African Network.
Oh.
And you can just type Jaya there. That's just like a specific network for queer people
That's really dope.
in the continent. So you can
like
also
that.
get me there. Otherwise, catch me in the streets. How about that?
Industry, how about
How
that?
about that?
Listen, everybody, it's been really quite lovely getting to do this show today. That is Jaya. Hopefully, you've learned an amazing thing from him. He's really quite informative for me. He's informed me a lot on gay culture and a lot of things that I needed to actually talk about. And I can actually understand that, like, being a rapper is really not an easy thing. But being a gay rapper, man, that's just really, really cool. Thank you so much for watching this episode of The Gay Superhero Show. Do make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. And also follow us on all our social media platforms. My name is Mondi, The Gay Superhero. Remember to love yourself in all shades, baby. See you next time.